Hey everybody, and welcome to a brand new edition of May the Force Be With Who. This is going to be my review of the new adaptation of Stephen King's It. Now, normally I don't go in for horror movies and that kind of thing because I've seen too many bad ones. Wishmaster, I Know What You Did Last Summer, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, or What You Did 2 summers ago, but anyway, that's semantics. I normally am not big into the horror genre or whatever, but I was a big fan of the 1990 miniseries that was on ABC with John Ritter and Harry Anderson and Tim Reed. So I was curious to see how this how this adaptation was going to go. Now, it hasn't been a good summer for Stephen King adaptations because, as we all know, The Dark Tower, which was out earlier in the summer, pretty much sucked. I did go see it. I didn't do a review on it because, well, I just didn't have the heart because it was horrible. But getting to it, it's part one. They're splitting up it into two parts. The part one is the chapter dealing with the kids, and then part two is going to be the chapter dealing with the adults. And I gotta say that this was a good movie. The chemistry between all the young actors was phenomenal. I don't have any of the names of the young actors they had playing the Losers Club, but they were great. Especially the standouts were really the kid that played Eddie, the hypochondriac, and the kid that played Richie, who was the little smart ass that grows up to be a comedian. Sorry if that's a spoiler. But they had good back and forth and all the bitching and sniping and whatever like friends would do. The girl that played Beverly she was real solid, and they had a lot of screen time for her, and kind of delved into why she had the strange relationship with her father, which you don't need a slide rule to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out what was going on there. And they kind of they point you in that direction, but it's handled tastefully. Now, the Bill character was also well represented. He's the one whose little brother Georgie is one of the first victims of Pennywise in the novel, as well as in the miniseries, as well as in the movie. And that kid was good too. Those four kids were the standouts. Now the other two, the kid that played Stan and the kid that played Mike, did not get as much screen time. Mike got more than Stan did, but I just felt that those were the two they didn't do a whole lot with. Now the town bully, Bowers, who was a creepy little kid with a mullet, he was very well cast. And they kind of alliterate as to why he's such a prick and is picking on the Losers Club and doing all sorts of hateful shit. And, before I forget, Ben, the kid that played Ben, the little chubby kid that has the crush on Bev, he was really good too. And there's a couple of there's a couple of cool little New Kids on the Block jokes between Bev and Ben. And they're for anybody that grew up in the late 80s, early 90s, you'll get them. And yeah, they moved the setting of the book from the 50s, 60s to the late 90s. So that was kind of cool, especially being somebody who, I graduated in 92, so it was just cool that they jumped the story forward in time. Now, about the only thing that I have negative to say about this film, you got to get to it about Pennywise. And Bill Skarsgård is really creepy when he's on screen, but he is not on screen a whole hell of a lot. So I'm going to have to defer to the classic ABC miniseries version of Pennywise, which was Tim Curry. And I mean, it didn't detract from it. I mean, it was kind of like the shark in Jaws. The presence or the threat is always there, but you don't see the whole lot of him. And the force of nature that is Tim Curry, especially when he was playing Pennywise in the miniseries, there was just more kind of character depth to Pennywise than there was in this new iteration. I mean, if you hate clowns, you're gonna fucking hate clowns even more after you see this flick. The effects were good, and it's got some laughs. It's creepy, but like I said, they don't give equal amounts of time to all the members of the Losers Club. And I just think that while Bill Skarsgård's Pennywise was, hang on, I'm doing a video, was good. Sorry. He just didn't measure up to the Tim Curry Pennywise. But it was a good flick. It was a hell of a lot better than the Dark Tower adaptation. So I'm going to give it a 7. So go check out it. It started this evening around 7 o'clock. So, especially if you're a Stephen King fan or a horror movie fan, I enjoyed it. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of May the Force Be With Who. Keep on keeping on, and we'll see you later.